Good day, brethren. The good captain here from CapnsKustomWorks, back with another episode of my beer reviews. I don't know if anyone out there will notice this time, but now we're recording in slightly less glorious, I guess, 720p as opposed to the 1080p that we've been trying for the last several episodes. For some reason, the auto zoom function would not cease operating, as you might have noticed, because the camera kept doing this all the time. Hopefully we're not going to have that problem now, because that seemed to stop in 720p mode, so the resolution will be slightly less. Hopefully you can still make out the things that I am doing. I don't know. It's all an experiment. We'll see. So thanks for being here and making this experiment work. Or making it fail if it fails. Why did you do that? I don't know. So we got an interesting beer today. This is Warhammer. Makes me want to get out some pewter figurines and start rolling some polyhedrons. It doesn't really, because I don't have many people to do that with anymore. Never really played Warhammer anyway, not one of my games. I've done mocking the name of this beer. I'm sorry, guys. This is Warhammer. Let's start that again. This is from the good folks at Four Hands Brewing Company out of St. Louis, Missouri. And these guys have not been around a very long time. And consequently, I don't believe that I've tried anything from them as of yet. But we're going to try today, and we're going to see how it is. I think these guys have been in existence for something like a little over 3 years, and the only way I was able to determine that is because they seem to have 3 anniversary brews released. One of them very specifically said for our 3rd anniversary, and that was it. I'm sure somebody might have some more info about their opening, but you know, I went only straight to the source. I relied on their own website because, gosh darn it, that's what you do. Or that's what I do anyway. So, that's what they had to say. They have a surprisingly large amount of brews that they're making for being only in existence a few short years. So that's kind of cool. That's good to see. They're, you know, coming out strong. Or hopefully they are. We'll find out when we drink this beer here. Which I'm going to get pouring because I'm excited to drink it. I feel like I could use a nice beer this afternoon. So Warhammer is an IPA, Imperial IPA, I think they said. Should spin this around and check it again. A little less info than I usually like to see, because I'm kind of a, I don't know, I'm a beer geek, I guess. I like all that info. Yeah, they call it Imperial IPA, which it says in the little tiny words, so I can be forgiven for not having that. On the bottle it says they use a combination of Pacific Northwest hops. On their website it says that they use a variety of hops, but they point out that the main hops used in this brew is Columbus, Tomahawk, Zeus. One hops. 3 names. Interesting. So all I know of that is I've heard of Columbus, and I'm very familiar with Zeus, one of my good buddies. It's one of his absolute favorites that he grows quite a bit of. So I assume it's some sort of a subset, maybe a hybridization. Don't really know. And it says that there's generous malt and there's biscuit and honey notes, which allow the hops to take center stage. Sounds pretty good. It says aromas of grapefruit, passion fruit, tangerine, and pine. Sounds interesting. I like some of those piney beers. We're going to cover some of that a little bit in an upcoming episode. Got some cool things picked out. And one of the things that I really like, I don't know how well you can see this here on the label, it's not auto-zooming all over the place on me. That's wonderful. They point out, it says pairings, grilled beef and carrot cake. I like that. I'm not a huge fan of carrot cake, but rather I love the fact that they're like, yeah, grilled beef and some carrot cake. Yeah, those are great pairings for this. It shows that these guys are thinking creatively, and I enjoy that. You know, hey, I'm an artist, a musician. If you're not thinking creatively, I don't know what the heck you're doing. So, good on them for that. So I've poured this out here. Giving it a chance to sit for a sec. Beery, which is a good start. Get some good plantiness in that, which is what I want out of the IPA, especially an Imperial IPA. I should also point out this is a 9%. Been reviewing a lot of 9% beers recently. It seems that 9% is a kind of a common occurrence. And it's got an 83 IBU on this, which again, it doesn't say that IBU on the bottle. Their website did though. As we keep discussing, that's a weird scientific measurement. That doesn't necessarily mean how bitter the beer tastes. But as a general rule, sure, a higher IBU is probably going to taste a little more bitter. Or a lot more bitter, depending on how high it is. I'm going to stop smelling this thing and taste it, because that's what I'm here for. I don't know about you guys. You're here to watch me act goofy, I guess. Huh. Alright. Yeah, I'm with it so far. It's, ooh, okay. Yeah. Some of the hoppier notes come through a little bit later, a little on the aftertaste. It's not bold like a punch in the face, which I might have expected from a beer they called Warhammer. I might have expected something a little more upfront, a little more warlike and hammerful, maybe. But it's a good approachable start there, and the hoppiness comes through a little more on the finish. It's not a weird aftertaste. I don't want to say that. That sounds wrong. It doesn't sound nice to me at all. It's a little bit of an interesting aftertaste, though. Just a little planty, just a little hoppy. Not bad. Not off-putting, especially to me. I like hops. I like a wide variety of beers, but I like a good hop flavor. That's interesting. I can see how some of that, those fruit notes that they mentioned, grapefruit, passion fruit, tangerine, and pine, not a fruit, pine is a conifer. I know that. John and John taught me. I already knew. But they did. Great song. C is for conifer, yo. That aside, science is real. All that aside, they got that flavor profile pretty much down. That is what I'm getting out of it. It's interesting. It's not overwhelming. There's subtlety to that flavor. I guess it kind of makes sense after that taste how they could say it could pair with grilled beef or with carrot cake. That's a good all-around IPA. That could stand up to meat, which is what I really like an IPA with. Nice crisp, bright IPA really cuts that meat nicely. It provides a nice contrast. But I could see how this would really pair with something sweeter, but yet it's a little earthy. Carrot cake has that earthiness, so that's an interesting, good call. Four hands. Good on you. Alright, time to give it the real test. We're going to slug the rest of this down here. In our favorite part. Better be your favorite part by now. I keep doing it. I'm just going to stop. I will. You know I won't do that. Accelerated motion time. Alright, brethren. Back to regular speed with you. Overall, I'm quite pleased with this beer. I really am. I think it's definitely approachable for folks that, especially maybe for folks that don't really think they're IPA people. One one particular thing that I might, if I had to pick a con to this beer, there's a little bit of, remember at the beginning when I was like, it's not a weird aftertaste, but there's something, there's maybe just a teeny tiny touch of, I think it's almost a sweetness that's kind of lingering just a bit. I would find this beer appealed to my taste just a touch more if it was a little less sweet, a little more crisp. That's what I generally prefer in an IPA. It's an Imperial IPA, though, gonna have to expect it's gonna be a little heavier in nature, but it doesn't feel like a heavy beer. It's smooth and drinkable, and I think most folks would probably drink this. And, you know, if you got some buddies that are like, I drink, you know, pub draft in a can, which is an oxymoron, but doesn't stop people from putting it on labels. But, you know, if you got those kind of buddies that are like, I buy what comes in the 30, you know, those folks, if you said, you know, try this. This is something you know, a little different. Maybe you'll enjoy it. Give it a shot. I think that maybe the majority of those kind of folks might drink this, and whereas they probably wouldn't say, oh, this is great, this is amazing, you've changed my life. But on the other hand, they would probably say, alright, it still tastes a little bit like a fancy beer, but it ain't bad. I think that's the reaction you get out of people with this. If you're a diehard exotic beers fan, it might not be crazy enough to really excite you. If you're a run-of-the-mill beers guy, it might be accessible, but, you know, still a little, it's a little fancier. So all in all, I think that means it's a good, solid, all-around beer. I'm pretty pleased with it. It's not the craziest thing in the world. Doesn't beat you in the face with hops. But if somebody had a bunch of this and said, yeah, I got some of this, I'd say, oh, cool. Yeah, that ain't a bad beer at all. Meh. You really can't ask for much better than that, really. I mean, sure, you can ask to be blown away, but good, solid, decent quality, there's something to be said for that, you know? That's pretty nice. Especially because this is my first try with these guys. This is the first offering that I have tried from Four Hands Brewing Company. But after this, with the good, solid result I got out of that, I will look forward to trying more of their brews. And I imagine there's probably some in the pretty wide range. Like I said, I didn't count how many brews they had available, but they had more brews than I would have expected from we've only been in operation a handful of years kind of brewery. So I'll look forward to trying more of what they have on offer. And as almost always, I did pick this up at my local Woodman's, employee-owned, groceries and beverages, good stuff. And I did notice that I bought this one a couple weeks ago, and I think this is the only one they had on their shelves from them at that point. I've seen a thing or two from Four Hands occasionally in the past and never grabbed one. This was, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago I grabbed this one up, and I think this was the only variety they had. But I was back there about a week ago, and I noticed that they had, I think, 4, maybe 5 offerings from these guys. So hopefully that means their distribution is picking up. I know especially for the younger breweries, you know, a handful of years you probably don't have a lot of distribution yet. And if these guys are starting to get a little more widespread distribution, then wonderful. Good on them for it. I look forward to that. I look forward to trying more of what they have available. So, very cool. All in all, that's you know, I hate to rate beers, but this beer rate's a solid. It's very, very decent. I would recommend it. I'd say give it a shot, for sure. Time to down the last little bit, because you know I like to save that, because it makes it a little more special. yeah, quite good, quite good. I would drink it. I would drink it again. As always, quick reminder, please, 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 drink responsibly. If you can't drink responsibly, shouldn't be drinking. That's what it comes down to. But aside from that, always ending on a downer. Thank you guys so very much for being with me yet again. I enjoy being able to spend a little time with you guys and share my thoughts, my views, as it were, my Beery views. And I would love to hear your Beery views, of course. By all means, please comment on my videos. If you've tried this brew, I want to hear what you thought of it. If you've got ideas for some other brews I should try, I want to hear about those. If you have some weird stuff to say that makes no sense, I might want to hear that too. I'm a weird dude, who knows? So, comment, like the videos, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more, because I'm just plain not going to stop drinking some beer, so if you want to keep seeing it, then please sign up, and you'll get them. But thank you so much for being supportive, because it's wonderful, it means a lot to me. I like sharing opinions, and I would love you guys to share your opinions. And as always, we will speak to you again in the real near future, whether you like it or not. Much love.